They made you feel crazy for crying. They loved you until you disagreed with them. And suddenly, you were the enemy. Maybe it was your partner, maybe your boss, maybe the one who was supposed to love you unconditionally. Your parent, different people, same pattern. Today, Heartriser, we're diving deep into narcissists in disguise, how they show up in our lives as parents, lovers, bosses, or even best friends. And we're breaking it all down using stories you already know, from BoJack Horseman to Mommie, Dearest to Succession and even Mean Girls. This is about truth. This is about healing. This is about taking your power back. Let's go. Welcome back, Heartriser. This space is sacred. It's for the ones who feel deeply, who love hard, who got hurt, and still decided to rise anyway. If you've ever said to yourself,
maybe it wasn't actually that serious.
Was I making a big deal out of nothing?
This episode is especially for you. We're not just talking about romantic partners today. We're breaking down narcissists who show up as the parent who never let you shine, the partner who called you crazy, the boss who destroyed your confidence, the friend who kept you small. If you've loved any of them and lost yourself in the process, you're not alone, because narcissists don't change. They just change roles. All right, Heartriser, let's get into it. Before we name names or unpack those toxic dynamics, we need a foundation. Narcissism isn't a personality quirk. It's a coping mechanism, built to protect a very fragile ego. At the core of narcissism is someone who doesn't really know who they are, unless someone else is reflecting back the version they want to be. Narcissists don't have identity. They have a performance. There are actually 7 different types of narcissists. Some are loud and arrogant, and some are soft-spoken and passive-aggressive. So before you go any further in this episode, Heartriser, I want you to save this video for later. 7 narcissists you might be loving right now. You're being conditioned to break. That episode in our Narcissism 101 series walks you through every version of narcissist you need to know. For now, let's focus on what all narcissists have in common. They lack empathy. They cannot take accountability. They manipulate, gaslight, and guilt you into silence. They need control. And no matter what role they play, whether it's your mum, your lover, or your manager, the blueprint never changes. Let's start with the first one we often meet, the narcissistic parent. Heartriser. This one is personal for many of us because when the very first person who was supposed to love us hurts us, mocks us, or competes with us, it leaves a wound that bleeds into every relationship that follows. Narcissistic parents will use your achievements to boost their own ego, control you with guilt, mock or minimize your emotions, compete with you for attention. It's like you're raised to parent them. Remember BoJack Horseman. Beatrice, BoJack's mother, emotionally neglected him, minimized his pain, and shamed every part of him that needed love. That's not just a storyline. That's real life for many Heartrisers. One community member wrote,
I told my mom I got into NYU and she said, "Why would they pick you?"
That's not a joke, that's trauma. Another example, Succession. Logan Roy emotionally manipulates all of his children to maintain power. They grovel for scraps of approval, never getting the love they deserved. If you've experienced this, Heartriser, you may struggle with over-explaining hypervigilance, a chronic fear of being too much. But listen closely, you are not too much, they just gave you too little. All right, Heartrisers, let's talk about love. And more specifically, love that turned into a war zone, because at first they made you feel seen, special, chosen. That's the narcissistic cycle. Love bomb, devalue, discard. At first it's,
"You're the best thing that's ever happened to me."
but then they say,
"Why are you so sensitive? You're overreacting again."
and finally,
"You made me do this. This is your fault."
Heartriser, this isn't love. This is emotional exploitation dressed up as romance. Real-world example, Gone Girl. Amy doesn't just manipulate, she orchestrates. The control is coated in charm, but it's all about revenge, image, and ego. Another story from a Heartriser in our community.
He said he wanted to marry me after 2 weeks, but anytime I cried, he'd go cold and disappear. When I asked for more emotional connection, he said I was needy. I started apologizing just to keep the peace.
This is trauma bonding, and it keeps you stuck. Narcissistic partners don't love you. They leverage you. And when you stop playing the role, they either destroy you or discard you. But either way, you lose, unless you choose something better. And Heartriser, you can choose something better. Heartriser, let's walk into the workplace. You might have had a boss who smiled in meetings and crushed your confidence behind closed doors. That's not just a tough manager, that's narcissistic leadership. Narcissistic bosses often micromanage every move, take credit for your work, shift blame onto you, use humiliation as motivation. Remember The Devil Wears Prada? Miranda Priestley doesn't just demand excellence, she emotionally terrorizes. Or Logan Roy again in Succession, where power isn't earned, it's weaponized. One Heartriser wrote,
My boss would publicly say,
We'll see how long she lasts.
after a while, I started believing maybe I was a problem.
narcissistic workplaces don't just stress you. They strip your sense of worth. You begin to question your intuition. You apologize for needing clarity. You shrink to survive. But remember, Heartriser, if a job costs your mental health, it's too expensive. Now let's talk about the one you might still be texting back. The friend who calls you too sensitive when you bring up something hurtful. The one who disappears when you need them, but expects you to drop everything for them. Heartriser, narcissistic friendships are slippery. They start with connection, shared trauma, or love bombing, and end with you feeling drained, dismissed, and not quite enough. Mean Girls gives us Regina George. The backhanded compliments, the subtle sabotage, the toxic power play. Real-life example from a Heartriser.
I opened up about depression. She said,
We all have problems. You're being dramatic.
that day, I learned my vulnerability was only valid when it didn't inconvenience her.
Narcissistic friends are not just negative people. They weaponize your openness. They thrive when you're small, and when you shine, they call it selfish. But you know what's selfish, Heartriser? Taking and never giving. You deserve reciprocity, not competition dressed as care. So now you've seen it in every mask. Parent, partner, boss, friend, and Heartriser. You might be thinking,
Why does this keep happening to me?
but let me tell you the truth. It's not about you, it's about how they operate. Narcissists center themselves in every narrative, minimize your reality, shift blame onto you, feel threatened by boundaries. The result? You question your worth, you crave their validation, you shrink to be safe. It's not random, it's a pattern. And once you recognize the pattern, Heartriser, which were, you reclaim the pen. You stop playing their role and you start writing your own. You've seen the mask, you've felt the damage, you know it's a pattern. So now, Heartriser, let's talk about what to do with that truth. Because naming the wound is powerful, but healing it, that's liberation. Let's break the cycle. One step at a time. And listen, you don't have to do them all at once. Healing is not a race, it's a return to you. Step one, name it clearly, out loud. Narcissists thrive in fog. They gaslight, distort, deny, and twist. So your first act of rebellion is naming what's happening.
This is gaslighting.
This is manipulation.
This isn't love. This is control.
Try writing it down, Heartriser. Journal the situation like a script. Then look back and highlight the parts where you abandoned yourself just to keep the peace. That's not weakness, that's awareness, and awareness is step one. Step two, reclaim reality with proof. Narcissists bend reality. So what do, Heartriser? You document. That way, when the gaslighting starts again, you've got receipts. And if you need a tool to help with that, I've got something for you. Download your 10 pages free guide, Your Truth Tracker, 7 journal prompts to break free from gaslighting. It'll help you remember what's real and reconnect with the truth you were trained to doubt. Link is in the description. Step 3, set and keep boundaries. Narcissists hate boundaries, but boundaries aren't about changing them. They're about protecting you. Try,
I'm not available for that.
Let's pause this conversation.
or just silence. Start small, turn off read receipts, delay responses, exit emotionally unsafe conversations. These are boundary reps, flex them. Step 4, heal your inner child. This is the deep work, Heartriser. What version of you still thinks love equals self-sacrifice? Inner child work means nurturing the part of you who was punished for having needs. Start with affirmations like,
I'm allowed to exist without performance.
My boundaries do not make me bad.
reparent the inner voice until he or she finally feels safe in your care. Step 5, go no contact or low contact if needed. Some people won't change, and your healing is not a group project. No contact is not cruel, it's clarity. If you can't go no contact, go low. Use the grey rock method. Be boring, be brief, be neutral. Peace isn't something they'll give you, it's something you'll choose for yourself. Bonus, reset your nervous system. Healing happens in the body too. Try breathwork, somatic therapy, grounding exercises. You don't just want to feel better, you want to feel safe, and safety, Heart Riser, is your birthright. You didn't choose the narcissist, but you can choose to stop playing their game. Choose truth, choose healing, choose you. Drop a comment and tell me, which mask hurt you most? Parent, partner, boss, friend. Let's talk, let's heal, let's rise together. Like and subscribe for more, and don't miss next week's episode. How to tell if it's NPD or sociopathy or BPD and how they affect you. Stay rooted, stay strong, stay you, Heart Riser. In case no one told you today, Heart Riser, but I want you to know you're not broken, you're healing, and you are worthy of the love you've always given to others.